So one of the very, very critical things when building a 1022 barrel that you're going to set a world record with is to get your chambering correct. So the first step in our process is to actually create a chamber that is a little bit shorter than a factory chamber. Our reason for doing this is to make it to where there is no bullet jump. A typical factory barrel has about 15, 20 thousandths of bullet jump from the time the bullet leaves the case until it actually touches the rifling. Our machines are these old, solid forged machines, and we do everything by hand. We don't do anything CNC machine. That makes it to where our tolerances are near zero. We actually do a hand fit, hand check to make sure that each individual chamber on each of our rifles that we build, whether it be a world record or one you grab right off the shelf, is the exact same. The bullet rests right on the back of the rifling and is ready to go. So our second step that we do when building a match grade barrel is our V-block. V-block is not necessarily something that's going to have a big difference on accuracy because it is simply the way the barrel is held onto the receiver. You cut a notch in it and there's two screw holes that hold it in place. So the V-block, while it's not very critical to be exactly right, we still do it on a hand finish machine and do everything by hand all the way through. So your third step when doing a match grade barrel is going to be your extractor slot. Once again, this is not a perfectly critical portion. All it has to do is be able to cut at a sharp enough degree angle to where you can get your extractor in there, pull a live round out or empty case round out, but not so shallow that when you try to extract a live round that it just slides over. So you do have a little bit of precise that you have to be there, but it's not absolutely critical. So once you're done with your extractor slot, the next thing that you need to do is mark your barrel to claim it's yours. The way we do that here in-house is with a roll stamper. It's the old traditional method, pretty simple. You use pressure and plates, roll stamp it, get a nice clean mark. If it doesn't have that mark on it, it's not a Clark. Once you finish roll stamping it, you take it over to the fluting machine. The fluting machine is one of the things that we're known for. It takes anywhere between 50 and 100 thousandths per cut per side of the barrel. You have 4 flutes. For our world record build, we're doing a deep flute, so we're going to be taking off 100 thousandths off of each individual flute. It's going to take a lot of weight off of it. It might disperse a little bit of heat too, but the main thing is really getting that weight down to where you want it to be. So once you have your fluting done, the next process is to go over and get your cut and crown done. This is an absolutely critical portion of the process. First off, you want to get an absolutely flat surface when you do the cut on the end. The next step is the important part though, the crown. The crown has to be an absolutely flush cut all the way around. So we do about a 45-degree angle cut. It doesn't necessarily matter exactly what angle it is, but it must be absolutely flush and clean all the way around, because if it's not, the bullet will actually keyhole when it touches the last place when it leaves the barrel. This is the most critical portion, the last place that it touches. So if it's not perfectly round, if it doesn't have that perfectly clean cut all the way around the edge, say one side's cut more than the other, guess what? The bullet's going to come out and keyhole that way and it's going to be waving all the way over the place. Whereas if it has a perfectly smooth cut all the way around, it comes out, it is spinning on its core axis and comes out nice and smooth. That's why the crown is absolutely critical in a build process. Now that we're done with all of our machine work, we actually have to go through and put a finish on the gun. Lots of companies like to do like a Cerakote, a hard chrome, something that's really flashy, really pretty. These things are great if you want the gun to look good, but we need our gun to perform well as well. So therefore, we want to do something that is going to be, bar none, not change anything that has been done to the gun. The best way that you can do this is by putting a blued finish on it. It's a controlled rust, that's all it is. It just changes the color a little bit. It's not going to change anything about the dimensions, it's not going to change anything about the polishing. It's going to be very, very clean, very, very well fitted, just like the gunsmith intended it to be, because you're not taking any material off and you're not adding anything, you're just changing the color. So that's why we're choosing the blued finish for this particular build. So once your bluing procedure is done and it's all nice and pretty and ready to go, the next thing that is done is actually put on a gunsmith's bench. This is where most of the handcrafting comes into play. Up until this point, there has been some machine work. Cutting V-blocks, extractors, fluting, all that stuff is machine work. But once it hits the gunsmith's desk, it is actually stone fit, file fit, whatever he needs to do to get all these parts to fit together exactly right. Each Clark gun that comes out of our shop is fit individually by a gunsmith. Those parts are made for that gun. So you can't take these parts from this Clark gun and put them in these parts for this Clark gun. No, they're not meant to fit that way. Each gun is meant to fit exactly the way it was manufactured when it came out of our shop. So in this particular case, we have to get the trigger group, put it together, make sure that it's all fit correctly well, goes in the housing, fits in the bolt assembly correctly. The barrel has to fit into the assembly, the housing assembly well. Once those 3 things are done, you actually have to put the gun into a stock. Now, some stocks come oversized, some come undersized, so depending on which stock you have, we may have to either route it out on one of our mills, or in this particular case, we actually had to build up the front end of the stock with a bedding material. So one way or the other, you're going to have to change your stock a little bit to accommodate your barrel for that perfect fit. Once again, everything is built for that particular gun. So once you get the hand fit receiver in the hand fit trigger group and the hand fit barrel into the hand fit stock, all of those components come together to make a great shooting gun. So once you have a completely built Clark custom rifle, this thing has been hand fitted, it's absolutely gorgeous, it's going to shoot wonderful. You've got to have a good piece of glass on it. If you don't have a good piece of glass, you've basically just bought a NASCAR and you're going to put regular unleaded fuel in it. No, that's a terrible idea. So we called up our good buddies at Vortex and they supplied us with a absolutely wonderful HD razor scope. This thing is awesome. It's got lit reticle, MOA adjustment, 25 minutes MOA target turret adjustment. I mean, this thing's got all the bells and whistles. It's got a great piece of glass on it. I can't wait to see how this thing's going to perform on the range. So once we have our gun built and we got a great optic on the top of it, the next thing that we have to do in order to make sure that this is going to be one of our guns is take it out and test it. And what better way to do that than actually put it in a tunnel that takes out all of the wind, all of the rain, all of the elements, shoot it in a 50-yard tunnel. We guarantee that our guns will shoot minute of angle accuracy. So if it doesn't shoot under half an inch with 5 shots, it's not leaving our shop. So some people are kind of skeptical towards this. Why do you hand fit this? Why do you hand fit that? CNC machine's great, right? Well, here's why. We guarantee minute of angle accuracy out of every one of our guns. Every one is hand fit for this reason. If it doesn't shoot our minute of angle guarantee, which is 5 shots in half an inch at 50 yards, it doesn't leave our shop. So therefore, this is what you can expect out of every one of our guns.